So you get this experience in fifth grade where you basically say you don't want to learn Russian. They crack down on your mom, your brother, your sister.
Yes.
Did you at any point you saw what happened between your mom and your dad? You'd been told your whole life that communism was evil. Did you just kind of suppress that a little bit to keep from getting taken away from your mom?
I did, but maybe not intentionally. Really, at that time, I was not political. I was just annoyed that I have to have the language that my grandmother tells me those people are not really good. They don't do good things in Poland. They oppress Poland. So why do I have to learn that language? So there was really not so much political, but the state was very political. The state was they were very cautious with citizens. They wanted to control, and they did control almost every aspect of social life. That's what socialism is. And so that didn't really, the political part came later when I started learning about the murders, the political murders, the oppression of socialism. And then what I became a little bit more aware of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Then reading about the people disappearing from the street and never heard from them again. That became a little bit more, then I became more aware. And so then in late 70s, in Poland, I had so enough of these lies. Because what happened is we had the empty shelves. There was nothing to eat. And you can't buy food. You can't buy clothes. You cannot buy furniture. But all you hear how great is in Poland in socialist system. If you look at America, people are sleeping on the street and we had no access to any information. They show those tents or they show those shacks where poor people sometimes or stay, or they show the worst thing about America. So that was just, people knew that this is a lie. Mm-hmm. So they got so fed up that eventually, no matter what that socialist press said, people didn't believe it. They say that this is brown. People think they're lying, even if it was brown. This is how they had enough. It had to explode, and that thing was accumulating. First, the people lost the faith in the government. They lost the faith in the truth, the lies that are being told. They stopped paying attention to it. So at the end, no matter what they said, people didn't believe. They had enough of it. And it exploded in the Solidarity Trade Union movement, where that people just raised up and say enough is enough. We had enough of socialism and communism.
When you're growing up, you talked about fifth grade. You're in 8th grade, you're in 9th grade, you're in 10th grade, and I know we're going to end up talking about this. At some point, you learned how to fight. Like, not just you learned how to street fight, and you learned how to fight on some level. What did you train? Did you train Taekwondo? Did you train boxing? What did you train?
I started with boxing, just regular boxing. And I remember, being just my mom growing us up, and my younger brother and sister. So sometimes I had to fight for my brother too. It's quite often. And so the boxing was an opportunity for me to kind of codify what I already knew, to just learn maybe this technical skills now. And it worked great. I mean, I really liked it. But then, again, so my brother got beat up at school, I think because we were divorcees. So there's people just... So I remember I was sick, and I said, well, I need to go to school. Then I just packed my stuff. I went to school. I found the big guy. That guy was huge. So I just knocked him out. And knocked him out so bad that this guy showed up with his mom later in the evening in my apartment. And it's his mother, see this? Your son did that to my son. He can lose his eye. I mean, I look at the guy from behind the corner, and I was like, holy shit, the guy has no eye. He's big swollen head. And so my mom just kind of coming in, and she's look at me, I'm half of his size, and this guy is huge, and he's crying. So it's so that guy beat your son? I was like, yeah, you see what he did to him? So if your son that big, let him happen to that, I think he deserves it. Why don't you just guys leave? So, they left.
Was there a boxing gym? Was there a boxing coach?
There was boxing
there like
gym. Actually, there
official
was
program or something?
There was an official program, yes. There was the police club. I didn't know about that time, but the clubs like this were on usually by the police. So I belonged, they call it Guardia. So I belonged to this club, but when I nailed this guy, I broke my hand. I didn't know it. So that put me on. So some of my friends went on their first boxing matches and stuff. I just had to stay home, and then we just moved to different towns. So, but that was my start was with the boxing, and I liked it. I got involved eventually with Taekwondo. And that's kind of a fun story too, because my attitude was a bit different. And the Taekwondo they practice in Poland at that time, there's two different types of Taekwondo, ITF, WTF. So we did the ITF, there's like no covering or anything, you just go and duke it out. So we went to the first Polish championship. And I didn't know any better. They put this thing on me. I was like, how do I fight with that? But okay. So I just keep knocking these guys out. I just keep progressing. So I got every time I finish my fight, they say, you have minus points for being brutal. Your fight is brutal. You can do that. So I mean, it was funny. And the final fight for the first place, I knocked the guy out. And so the guy is laying there. The judge comes to me and say, like, you being disqualified from the program. Not quite disqualified, but he's the winner. So then, they announce, okay, this is winner is so right here. The guy's just laying there, passed out. So I was like, okay, well, but anyway, I guess my fight was not very sports-like because I got a lot of whistles and booing after I went as to take my second place medal. And that kind of ended up. And then, the prison came in, and actually they helped me a lot in prison. I'm glad that I was able to help other political prisoners. There's a friend of mine who actually I've met again when I visited Poland recently. So since I didn't have anything to do up there, just sit, we just hey, you are Solidarity, I'm Solidarity, let's go train. So we were training. He said, look, what you did to me helped me later survive the beatings that I got from the guards and all that stuff.